today we're going to talk about, continue to talk about statistics. Last week we started talking about statistics in the median mode, and today we're going to continue talking about the statistics. As you can see today we've got people joining us up here. So if you see a little bubble come, like a person's name come up here, or a little talk bubble thing come up here, let me know. Because that will let me know that they have a question up there. Those of you that are listening in, if you do have a question, the students here in the classroom will take a question. So if it's something that you're not sure you want to ask, if you want to just write the question down and send me an email after the lesson, that's fine. But most people here have been asking some really good questions, and so there shouldn't be an issue if you're asking questions as well. Okay? So, we're going to, I was hoping to have a chance for you guys to use iPads today, and I'm not sure it's going to happen. So we may have to kind of do some interaction and stuff off of my computer, and you can see on my computer with that, because this set of iPads doesn't have it. This set of iPads doesn't want to have an app that I was going to use, but this set doesn't have that app. So, not sure why, but it doesn't. So we're going to do the best we can to try and do that, and maybe I'll get you guys up and helping with entering and things like that, so you guys can kind of get the experience of the data. So what we're going to do is go to the next slide. And here's your special question. Remember, you take Cornell notes, and if you need, if you want a page that's an actual template, I've got the actual template. And if you need the templates, remember how to do the top part. How to do the top part. Make sure you got your name, class, date, the lesson topic, which was statistics if you want. And then you do special questions over that. Once you've done that, then you can draw the line down the side and split stuff up. Ready? Those of you that are listening to kind of do this check for me, if you're done with yours, so we know if you're ready to move on. Okay, I'm going to assume the other end is ready to go because the pen is all ready to go. So, here's what we're going to do. Here's some vocabulary that we're going to need to notice for today. So we've got just the words out there right up front. So leave the words down and fill in as we go along what some of those words mean and what we're talking about. And if you don't get it filled in as we go along, make sure you go back after the lesson and fill in that information. And use a different color if it's not part of the lesson plan, so I know that you made updates. So again, here on the other end of this, and you can hear me, just go ahead and give a quick check mark when you get to where the top of time numbers are ready to move on. Make sure you get your name tag. Last time, if not, you need to create one. All right, looks like everybody's ready. You got most people up above, but everybody. We've got one person, two people. And last person looks like they're just about ready. So we're going to go ahead and move on. If you need to go back and watch the recording to finish up getting the copy down, you can take care of that. Again, anytime you add to these notes outside of class time, like use a different color or something to indicate that you've added to the notes, because I'm going to be looking for that when your notes are in your notebook, because that's one of the things that's expected. And then you're taking notes, because it helps us learn how to study better and helps us review the notes and so on to make sure that we're really understanding what the math is that we're supposed to understand. So, and last week we talked about calculating mean, median, and mode by hand, and we did a couple things like that and talked about how we do that, right? And so, usually when we're doing those kinds of things out in the real world, you're getting lots and lots and lots of numbers. Okay? So you get so many numbers that trying to do it all by hand means it can be too burdensome. But in order to, we can use something called a spreadsheet to do that and figure those things out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up a spreadsheet here. And I want to share, I may have to record myself a little bit just to make sure you get it. So everybody should be able to see this. Okay? And in column B right here, we're going to enter some numbers. And those numbers that I'm going to ask you to enter are the same. I think I said pick a number between 1 and 30. Did I say 30? Okay. Pick a number between 1 and 30. If your number's the same as somebody else, that's okay. But I want you to just quickly see what that number is, and then I'll check on the people on the other end too, so I get their numbers so they can interact with us. So let's start with them first. Let me pull them up. So it's the wrong thing. So you guys on that end, go ahead and type in a number between 1 and 30 so that we can work with the numbers and you can participate as well. And I'll pull those numbers up in just a second. And I'm going to start putting in numbers on this end from the people, students in the classroom. And just to save time, I'm going to go ahead and actually put those numbers in. So let's just start in lower end. Go ahead, Wyatt. 24. 24. Okay, and I'm going to go down the page for the next person. Yep, 29. Okay. 13. Okay. 16. 14. That's mine. I hit the button and it didn't go. Okay, so let's try it again. All right. Still didn't do it. All right, let's try
There
it.
we have the manual.
17. Okay. Who's next?
Me?
So,
9.
9, okay. 28. 28, okay. Let's go back over here. 25. 25.
19.
19. I'm glad I got a double number. 29. Maybe not. Maybe
No,
not.
no, 29.
Okay. 20. Okay. 21.
Oh, no double.
No double number. 3. Okay. Let's see what we got at the other end of things here. See if there's a student that, that the other guys have.
That's probably going to be so.
You haven't put anything in it. Come on, guys. Type into the thing down below a number. So I'm going to put a number in too. And let's see. I'm going to put 29. Okay. All right. So next time I expect the numbers, guys. All right. So we've got all these numbers here, and we can actually, now that the numbers are in there, we can do a lot of things with the numbers without having to rewrite them and all this other stuff. Okay. So if we're going to find the mean, what do we have to do?
Add all of the numbers and divide by how many numbers there are. So you guys add all 15 numbers and divide it by 15.
Okay, good. You need to add all the numbers up, and then there's actually 15 numbers. You can see that there's 15 numbers here because of
The columns.
the column, the side, the left-hand side there. And so we can put it, actually give this an equation in order to make this, to make it happen for us, so we don't have to actually do it all by hand. So that takes a long time, and how often are you going to make a mistake when you do that, right? So now the only mistake is going to be if you put the wrong formula, tell it the wrong formula.
Well, don't you, I don't know if you guys can divide it, either are.
Right, which is exactly right. So, if I'm going to do this, and I'm going to let you guys do this, some of this in a little bit. I'm going to just go up here. You see that the bar up above where it's flashing up there. And I'm just going to have the column below. And actually, I'm going to write over here before I do this. I'm going to put over here that we're finding the mean, so I know what that number represents. And I'm going to tell it what I want it to do. So I'm going to say equals. And what's the first thing we want it to do?
Sum.
We want it to add everything up. Okay? So, you guys see the summation sign up there? Remember what that does? What does it do?
Add all of them plus the expression you got.
It adds all of those things up, right? So I'm going to click on that. I want to click on sum. And the nice thing about this program is it kind of interpreted what I wanted, and it's telling me that everything in here is what I want to add up. Okay? Now, if it's not everything, all I have to do is, if I don't want everything, I can just click on one of these, push shift and click on one of those, and make it less than that. Okay? Or I can, if I made a mistake, I want all of them, I push shift and I click on that. Okay? Or I can change the numbers. I can change the numbers up there in the little bar up there. All right? Okay? So that's the first thing, but that's not everything I want to do. I need the sum, but then I have to do what?
Divided by 15.
Okay? So I'm going to divide by 15. You guys okay with that? And then I push enter. And that's right. That's pretty cool. All right. Makes sense. So we just found the mean. How are we going to find the median? I'm going to get somebody to come up here and help me with this one. How are we going to find the median? What's the first thing we have to do? You should think about it. What's the first thing you have to do? Find the median. But first of all, what is the median?
The median is the number in all sets in the set of the numbers.
So they're all types of centers. So what's special about the median versus the mean? The middle number when we do what? We have them in order. Is that going to work for us right now?
No.
No, they're not in order. So then when I come up here and help me put them in order, you think I can retackle those numbers?
No.
No? Okay, so let's come up and help.
I wasn't.
It's okay, I'm going to help you with that. I'm going to help. So I'm going to have you guys kind of do some stuff, okay? So we want this to put the click on the first number we want. Not the column, number. Okay, then you push, hold the shift button down, and then you click on the last number you want. Okay? Now, they're not in order, are they? Does anybody see anything up there that might tell us what to put it, how to put them in order? Okay, and look at the buttons up at the top. What do you guys see up there that might help us put those in order? Sort and filter. Oh, try that. So we want it from smallest to largest. Okay?
Sort.
Continuous selection, we don't want to expand it because we don't want to include the mean, right?
Nope.
Okay? Now look at that. Well, it's my favorite, right? Okay, that has to be. All right, who's going to help me next? Okay, so we can look at this and we can find the median, right? You're right? Okay. All right, so what's the median? Okay, 119.
There's 7 on each side.
Yeah, and you can kind of tell that by looking here to help you, right? So 19 plus the median. Now, so we can look at that and just put that in there. But what if you had lots and lots and lots of numbers? You think there's another magical tool there? You're absolutely right. Isn't that nice when we can have that other magical tool? So, first of all, you had to actually, I'm having you do the process because we need to know how to do it by hand also. Okay, because what was one of our questions we had to think about? Such a question was why do we also need to know by hand even though we can do this pretty quickly,
So we
right?
can input this.
Okay, so, but what we're going to do is we're going to go to insert. Actually, I'm going to highlight that column for that place first. That's where we want the answer to go. Okay, that's what I'm doing. That's the wrong thing. Okay, so actually, we're going to go to it in general there. And actually, it's not what I want. I'm sorry. Formulas is what I want. Right? We have formulas. And so I'm having to switch. So I was all ready to do with the iPad, and I had to do it a little differently. So I had to switch back to my head what I'm going to do. So we're going to insert some sort of function there. And what kind of function? So there's a function that says sum. Guess what? Did we need to actually put the formula in here?
No.
No, but it was important for us to understand what's happening with that. Absolutely. So there are several formulas that have been used, but let's take what category do you think we might want to choose in a given category? you talking about with math right now?
Math and trade,
Could it be
or statistical.
statistical, okay, so math should be median motor, also statistical, right? Okay. So, let's put it statistical. And there's a whole list of these here.
What's his name?
Hmm?
His name.
Yeah, there is your name right there. Okay, you see anything that help us? Okay, who else come up and do that? Okay, you have to put the equal sign in.
That one is what you have is like
Yeah, now, what's it asking us for?
P1 to P.
Okay, so is that what we want? Is that what we want to take the median of? What do we want to take the median of? Don't cancel it. What do we want to take the median of? These numbers on there. We want to go through 15. So, there's a couple things you can do. What do you think we should do? Okay. We didn't have the whole thing on. That's okay.
Yeah, that's usually
It's easily fixable. Yeah, we're going to go back here. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to clear that out. And remember why it just did in terms of selecting the numbers here? He picked one up above,
and then just continue
and then
just
help
on
the
the
shift button down. And then take the last one you wanted. Okay? Does that look better, guys? Okay? And is that what we got? We agreed that it was 19, and that comes out to be 19 like that. Okay, good, thank you. All right, what's the next one we want to figure out? Mode? Okay, you're up. Okay, come on. Come on. All right, so we're going to put mode next to this. And so remember, we're on formulas. Okay, and so what do we have to do? You guys can help her out. What does she need to do? I want to figure out the mode. First of all, what is the mode up here? 29. Okay, good. So what should she do? She can type in 29 because you can see that, but if you have lots and lots of numbers, you can see that, which is what lots of companies do. They work to generate with all these numbers and data, and they have to figure these things out. So I mean, there's many of these numbers. So you can't see that as easily. What do you think she probably should do? What did we do here? We inserted a function. Okay, so can you do that for us? So come insert function. And it's over towards me. That's the top. Come in, over.
The giant X and the X. It's just the giant.
Right there. Okay. All right. So what function should she look for? First of all, is she in the right category?
Let's go to category.
Is she in the right category?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so we're good there. All right. What should she look for?
Mode.
Okay, so scroll down. Okay, so they're asking if they're we want to see if there's multiple or single modes. We know there's single, so just go ahead and click on the node stuff.
There's a lot of numbers. How would you know that?
So you can do multiple. So start there. Go ahead. You can push cancel now. And go back to the other one. Scroll down. gotta do that one. Okay? So, now what we did was, what Diamond did is she clicked on the top of the column where the 3 is, up in B. Okay? Okay, and then hold the shift button. And click it on here and click the last number that we want. Hold the shift button and click up the top line. There we go. Okay? So that's all the numbers we want to look at, right? And that's all okay? And what are we going to get? Did we get what we wanted?
Yes.
Or what we should have? Okay, great. Thank you. Good job. All right, so the next thing we have to look at, we're going to hold on to this. We're going to get back over to okay. Oh, I'm not showing the.
Stop sharing.
I gotta stop sharing for a second. We'll come back to it in a little bit.
I think that's what's missing.
Okay, so we did all the mean, median, mode now, and that's just review. So now we're going to move forward and use that information, these are the same numbers, to find quartiles. Okay, so this is our next word. Quartiles, this is how do we find them? And first of all, what you need to know, well, is that to find the quartiles, first you need to do is find the median of a set of numbers, because that's split into 2 equal groups. Okay? We've already found that median. Okay? So the next thing after that is that the first group that you divided it into, you're going to find the median of that number, that first group, and then you're going to find the median of the second group. Now that we split them into 2 groups, the first median. Okay? And so then we'll number them like Q1, Q2, Q3, and we'll see that in just a minute.
Basically, splitting them around based on the median of each.
So we divided the whole thing in half, and then we divide each of those halves in half. And how many groups do we have if we do that?
4.
4, which is why we call it quartile. And because what we're finding is those numbers, they're the quartile numbers, split the whole thing into 4 different groups. Okay? So, and that's exactly what I said. So now we've got a definition for a quartile. Quartiles are the places that divide the set of numbers into 4 equal groups. So we're going to go back as soon as you get a chance to get this copied and figure out what the quartiles are of our set. Ready to go on. If you're at home, let me give me a quick check so that I know you're ready to go on. And those of you that are here, and we'll just get ready to go. Alright, and, for those of you on the other end, if you're not quite done, you can go back and watch the recording to get, fast forward to get to the section and finish your notes. Alright. Let's go back to our spreadsheet. And everybody should be seeing our spreadsheet now. And, all right. Everybody should see the spreadsheet now. And as we're looking at this, we already have one of the quartiles, right? That's the actual one right in the middle. Because that's the one in the middle, the median could also be called quartile 2. We call it that. So another way we show that is by capital Q with a little 2 next to it. Actually, okay, in this mode it's not going to work. So we'll just put, there's supposed to be a little Q down below. So it looks like this usually. Okay. Let me do that. Just so you guys know that you can find that, see where it says equation or it's not dark enough yet, right there? You see that? If you make it do that, actually on here, if that was dark, I could actually find a way to make it that provides me with a way to like do exponents and things like that when I'm typing things in on the computer. So just kind of FYI, instead of creating ways to make squared and that kind of stuff, that's where you can find some of those symbols. So let's go there. So we've got our Q2, and I'm going to make this so we can read everything. So what we need is our first quartile and our third quartile. So how do we do that? We say we did that based on what we just talked about. What do you know to say? Find the quartiles,
Median.
find the first median, the median, which we did, and then from there we
Find the median of each group.
find the median of each group. Okay? Who wants to come up and help us with the first one? What do you? Justin, come up help us with the first quartile one.
What are we going to find?
We're going to find quartile 1. So in this box right here, you're going to type capital Q with the 1, so we know that's what it is. Okay? And then click on this right over here. Right next to it. And now what are you helping out, guys? Just helping you guys. So what are you supposed to do?
Find a median
Find the median
the first group or 1 through 7.
So what, 1 through 7? You guys okay with that? Group what? 1 through 7, okay. So we're going to find the median of 1 through 7. So to do the median, we have to go up to where it says, we have to get a formula, right? Get the formula. So keep going up higher. Keep going, there we go, right there. Click on that. Okay, and then we're supposed to?
Insert function.
Yeah, so we can do that, insert function. And what, do we have the right category?
Yes.
Okay. And so what are we looking for? Okay. Okay. All right, is that the set of numbers that we want?
No.
C1 through D18.
Nope.
What's the set that we want?
1 through 7.
Okay. Is that correct? Okay, so you see that's the other way you can do it. Remember, one way was to take and put the cursor on top of one of the sets of numbers, one of the numbers, and hold shift and get all the rest, or you can just do it that way. Okay, then. Okay, So 14 is the middle number of the other numbers. Okay? Let's go to the next thing, Justin. Something different. Please. Let's do Emily. Comes right up the front here. Help us out. Okay? We're going to have to scroll down a little bit because we need another row down there.
The one.
Okay, and we need, Troy, yeah. Okay, so this is not going to be, is that the first one, second one? We now need the third one. Okay. Yep. Okay. And so, what do you think? I think she's got it. She's been paying attention. She's got it. Okay. Just checking out the category to make sure it's the right category.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So now what numbers do we need to have in there? You guys can help her out with that?
No.
Is it?
No.
No. What is it?
B9 through 15.
Okay. Why?
Because it's the other set. Because 8 was the plus we used. The whole set of numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was 14 from 1 through 7,
Mm-hmm.
9 through 15 is the other one.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so, thank you. Good job. You guys are starting to see, even though you're not doing it yourselves, you're starting to see, because we're repeating kind of the process, and you're getting the idea. So why did we do this? Well, because this is going to help us with something. We need 2 more pieces of information before we can do the next piece. So I need to know, what do you suppose that means when I put MIN?
Minimum.
What do you think? The minimum or the, yeah, what would that mean? Go ahead, let's pull back up. Looking at this, what would that be? The smallest number. And if they were in order, there's a way to do that, but we can see it so there are in order. We've got enough space here. Okay? So we're going to put 3 there. There's a way to do that with the lots of numbers. Okay? You probably actually saw some of them. And the other one is going to be math.
What?
Are you keeping? Okay. Okay. And so the math of this is going to be what number?
29.
29. Okay. And so using those numbers, we can now create box list for plot. How many of you guys are sure about box list for plot?
I think they were talking about it last
Okay.
lesson.
I mentioned it last time. We didn't really talk about it. So let's go back here. And let's go back to not sharing, and stop sharing, and go to my screen. And we're going to do a box limit for plot. So for a box limit for plot, you're going to find the minimum and the maximum numbers, which we did, right? Those 3 and 29. You need to find the quartiles for the set of numbers. Okay? I know one was 25, one was 19. You can also go back and look for the other one. And then all we do is just draw a number line and place a dot below each minimum, maximum quartile. So we're going to do that. I've got a spot here. So we're just going to draw a number line. Yep, sorry, it's straight, but it'll work. And we're going to have to start with 0 and go up to
49.
30. So we know our maximum is going to be right about here. So I'm going to put a dot right here. Our minimum was 3, so that's down about here, right? One of the numbers was 14, so that's going to be a little less than half, right? The other one was 19. And I believe the other one was 25, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be about here, right? Once you've done that, all you do is you take and you draw
A box.
a box, and you draw the box using the quartiles, okay, Max? Okay, you draw the box with the rectangle using the quartiles, so it's like this. And then you draw a line through the rectangle right there where the median is. Okay, guys remember that? And then once you've done that, then there's your box. Then we need the whiskers. What do you think the whiskers are going to be? Yeah, whiskers just like this, right?
Yes.
And we just do a little line right here.
To the minimum and maximum.
Yep, and then like this. All right. Okay. And that's your box and whisker plot. Okay? So you've got a tool you can use now to calculate all the numbers fairly quickly, without having to do lots and lots and lots of extra work. Okay?
Bring the place them on.
And you just learned how to do box whisker plot, and we found all the numbers we needed to be able to do this. Right? Okay? And so let's just kind of go back here, because I know you guys were trying to kind of write some of this down. You may have to go back and put that list of reporting. It is also in the online lesson, so if you need to add to it, once I have it. So let's review it that we talked about. We learned how to do the median and mode, right? With a spreadsheet. You already knew how to do that. Now we just learned how to use a spreadsheet to do that. You have a math tool, technology tool to do that. We also found the what? We did that. What else did we find? The quartile. And how did we find the quartile?
By doing technology.
Okay, so we found the median first, then we said which gave me two groups, which was just said, and then I do what? Then do it again to the other two groups. Is that two steps? Oh, we're not two steps, huh? Okay? And then once we've done that, we have to also find the quartiles in our two box which we also have to have the okay, in the picture we have these two
Oh, the box and whiskers.
yeah, but to do that we have the quartile, which means the rectangle. Then we have these things out here. What are those called? And how you have to get where the whiskers end, what do we have to know? Number one. Because you know the answer.
It's like an answer. I would be.
Does he know the answer there?
Oh, is it my name?
You would use the max and the maximum number and the minimum number. Okay? All right? Okay? And then we just draw the whiskers from the box, right?
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yep.
Okay? Can I? That's right, okay. How much time do you need? You good? Okay, so don't stop just because of this. Okay. All right, so going back, looking at the slide, the box was the box, so your minimum, maximum, and so on. So the box is made, the quartiles make the box, the minimum, maximum makes the
whiskers.
Okay. All right. So based on what we've done so far, we've got variance and standard deviation. Okay, and what these are, they're terms to help figure out how spread apart the numbers are in your data set. And if you're actually out in the real world doing statistics, you like, it's like doing research, you want for research people, they want their numbers to be really close together because then it basically says, okay, you got something, you're finding something out that is really true. Okay, so they use these numbers to do that kind of thing. So when you see a standard deviation that's a pretty big number, because they'll throw those numbers out in the newspaper and things like that, then the results probably aren't that strong of results for the research, which is important to know because lots of times people talk about research and say, oh, we've got this great research and we found this, but then the person out there in the real world needs to know that, really the research wasn't really that accurate, or that was really accurate research and I should think about it based on what they said. They talk about medical things and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay? So when they say, oh, this is the greatest news, it's the next greatest thing to help with medicine or something like that. So they're always in relationship to the mean, okay? And like I said, they help kind of know accuracy. That's one of the ways they use accuracy in research. So to find this, there's this funky formula. So like what this says is for the data set. So when we say x, y, 2, x, 3, x, 4, and so on, that's basically saying the first number that we put on in the table, the second number that's in the table, the third number that's in the table that we did. Then we take all those numbers and we find the variance, which is called we call it a squared. So if you see a squared, it's a mean variance. And we use this formula. This right here is the mean. You can see that right here. So we have, first thing we have to do is we have to list the data in order, which we already have done, right? Then we had to find the mean, which we also have done, right? Okay? Then we have to calculate this. For each of the data sets, numbers in our data set, we're not going to do a big one and a big dot. We're just going to try and kind of practice a little bit. Okay? So this would mean like the first number minus the average, the mean, the second number minus the mean. Because remember that got that summation sign there, right? This is what we learned. So we're going to do that several times and add, square it next, it shows it there. And then calculate the summation, and then we divide by the n minus 1. And where n is the number of items you have in there. Okay? So it's just kind of a formula that we used. So they're trying to see how far apart the numbers are from the average. And that by doing that, when you find the difference, you find the distance those numbers are away from your average, your mean. Okay? How far is each of those numbers away from the mean? And then we're trying to kind of find the average of that distance, basically, is what they're doing. So we can actually, there's a way to do that in your spreadsheet, okay? But I also want you to make sure you know how to do it by hand. Why would that be important?
Because if you don't know how to do it by hand, you might not get as far as with the technology, especially in Excel, as you would if you knew how to do it by hand too.
Okay. Why else might it be important to kind of know how to do it by hand and understand what's happening with it?
So no, especially no.
Okay. Why else might that be important? Like it's funny things in the calculator because they always come out right. So why? How do you know they don't come out right?
Because you might input them wrong.
But you're right. They might. That's part of it. So how do you know at the end that it didn't come out right? So I think that
If you check it over again, if you plug in the answer with the previous, beginning of the equation, and it all comes out like the same, whatever.
Okay. How else might you know the answers to this wrong?
If you know how to do it in writing, it doesn't perform when you did it by hand than what you put in.
Okay. That's true. Like let's say you put you're supposed to do 2 times 7, and you got an answer of 1,000. How do you know that that's not right? Besides the fact that you know the answer is 2 times 7.
No.
But when you look at it, what did you say to yourself?
That does not seem right.
Okay, why?
Because if it's 2 times 7, that's way, and it comes out 1,000, that's way too far. Because 2 times 14 like 2 times 7 is 14.
Mm-hmm.
That's way off.
Okay, yeah, you know from doing things that 2 times 7 is not 1,000, it's not even close to 1,000, right? So by doing some of these things and working with some of these things ahead of time and beforehand, then you know that it makes sense, so that you can look at things a little bit more easily and see if it makes sense. So let's, we only have a couple minutes left, but I want to try and do this a little bit and then also look at the standard deviation. Because the standard deviation, all you do is take the square root of the answer you just got from the other item. Okay? So first thing we need to do, all right. So the first thing, remember that we said we had to do was we had to do right. First thing we had to do was do the number, whatever that was, minus the mean, right? And I can show you how to do the other part at the time. You can do the little line above the X. Okay, so what is the mean?
18.8.
18.8. So in order to figure that out right there, I have to take, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a formula and put equals, and I want this number, right? And I want to subtract the mean, which is that number, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So I got an answer there. Now the cool thing about this, now that I've done this, I think, I'm just going to change this. I'm going to put, just to guarantee that I don't get something. Okay. What I can do is I can take this and I can just drag this down here to here, and it'll automatically do the rest of the formula. So I have to do the formula for the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Like that?
Yeah, that is cool.
Okay, then what do I have to do? What was the next piece we had to do? We had to square those answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I can do the next column, and I can put a formula in again, equals, I want this, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just we have an exponent. And I get, yep, okay. And I can just do the same thing down here. And I quickly get my numbers.
I don't know how I made it go to 249.
Okay? So just by knowing the formula, I can plug it in and get a bunch of answers pretty quickly, right? But I need to know the formula in order to be able to get that to happen. You know, the little things we did with the formulas where I could click on the formula thing so we under the formula place, right? They had to know the equations and to be able to program the computer to be able to do that. Okay? And they know that people use those a lot, certain ones a lot, but if you didn't use those all the time, you have to know the formula and math-wise to make this work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And they use the secretaries and stuff use this all the time. I mean, there's lots of different companies use it all the time for stuff. So you have people that do statistics with this. there's just all sorts of different things that people do with all these kinds of things with the spreadsheet all the time, so it's nice to become, that you can start becoming familiar with it. Okay? I know like in our program that they give you a spreadsheet sometimes and they give you the formula. Well, you guys can start figuring out the formula yourself and putting it in work. Okay? So now what am I supposed to do with that? What was I supposed to do with all those numbers? I'm supposed to have the what?
Variance.
I had to get the whole thing, right? Okay. Then what did I have to do?
Divided by how many numbers are in the set, so it's minus 1.
Yeah. How many numbers are in my set? There were
15.
15, so I want to
Divided by 14.
divide by 14. Okay, good. So I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to tell it to divide by 14. And that's my variance. Okay? Now if I want my standard deviation, what do I do with that number?
I would square root it.
You have to square root it. Excellent. Okay? And we can put that in there. And unfortunately, we're out of time. But get the idea with that. All right? So it's just taking formulas, using the formulas to manipulate the numbers, and have new formulas. Okay? Okay, so we're done today. Just quickly write a quick summary of an answer to your EQ before you go. I know it was a couple minutes late, but do that quickly. You had to get from somebody.
It was, although technology can get answers to math problems for us, why do we still need to know how to calculate answers by hand?
Okay.